Well, good morning everybody. Thanks for joining me. For those of you that have been watching my channel for a while now, you'll know that I haven't posted anything in about a month and a half or so. It's because my wife and I just welcomed our daughter at the end of October, so it's been a little busy at home, and this is actually only the second time I've been out into the woods since that happened. And first time I was out about a week ago, and I actually tried to make a video like this one, but nothing cooperated. There was no wildlife to photograph. So I'm out again today, and hopefully I'll have some better luck today. I'm headed down to a kind of riparian area in the middle of a forest. There's a nice brook that flows through the forest, and it's got kind of a shrubby, grassy section, a nice clearing, and that's where I'm headed. I'm hoping there'll be some bird activity down there. So that's the plan. It's one of the first mornings that it's actually gotten really cold. I think it's 29 degrees now. A lot of the waterways are actually frozen. They actually got frozen overnight, which is the first time this year. So we'll see if there's any water flowing down in this brook. But it's a beautiful morning to be out. I'm excited to see what we can find. I hear some nuthatches and kinglets calling above me, so that's a good sign. And I also have behind me a tripod to try out from Sirui. I'll be talking about that a little bit more once I set up. But let's go see what we can find. Here for a second because there was a small flock of golden-crowned kinglets and brown creepers that were foraging along this little hemlock grove. This forest is pretty much all hemlocks and pines with some oaks in it, and the golden-crowned kinglets specifically, as well as chickadees and tufted titmice, like to forage in hemlock trees because they have all these small little needles, and they obviously keep their needles all year long because they're conifers, and they forage for little insects that are on the needles. Apologize for the plane going over. So, sorry, the plane flew over now. So kinglets specifically really like hemlock groves because that's where they forage for the little insects that they hunt. So I paused here. I tried to get some videos and photos of them, but they were just too fast and there's too much branches in the way, so it's kind of hard to get a clear image. But I figured now is a good time to talk about the tripod from Sirui that was provided. So it is a pilot series tripod. It is extremely light, it's really nice. They provided me a copy of it to test it out and see what I think of it. And so far my first impressions are really good. I really like it. It's nice and light. It's a lot lighter than my other tripods that I have. I usually use a Benro, I believe it's a Mach 3 tripod for my 600mm lens. It's a heavy, it's a big tripod. But today I'm going to try out this pilot series tripod. I still have my Manfrotto video head on top because that's what I like to use. The Sirui tripod actually came with a small video head. It just wasn't big enough for my 600mm lens, but I might try that. I'm also going to try this tripod out for my vlogging setup, and I'm going to use the video head for that setup if and when I use that. So, so far I really like the tripod. Like I said, it's nice and light. It's very compact. It folds down nice. And when it's fully folded, it's a lot shorter than my other tripod, which is really nice. It fits on my backpack nicer. And the center column, it has a short center column, so it can go all the way down to the ground, or it has a longer center column, but the center column is actually a triangle, so when the legs fold down, it actually is even more compact than a usual round center column, which is nice. So it is, it's nice so far. The only thing that's really different about it from my other tripod is fully extended. It doesn't extend all the way up as far as my Benro tripod, even without the center column. But first impressions, I'm not too sure if that's going to be that much of an issue, because I usually do most of my photography kneeling or from the ground. I try to keep a lower profile, so I try not to stand as I'm doing photography for birds and stuff. So we'll see if that's really an issue or not. But time will tell. It's my first time out with it, and I'm excited to test it out. I like the green. It comes in green or gray. I asked for the green one, obviously because I'm out in the woods all the time. So yeah, so far it's good and sturdy. It's holding my 600mm pretty good. So yeah, I'll put the link in the description below to test it out. If you're looking for a tripod, especially this holiday season, I'll put the link down below and you can check it out yourself. So I think the birds have kind of moved on, so I'm going to continue on down towards the brook, and hopefully there'll be a little bit more activity that I can photograph down that way. Down to the wetland area in the forest. I'm actually just trying to make my way over to the clearing without getting my feet soaked. And it's actually right in front of me, probably about 30 yards or so, and I hear all sorts of bird activity, which is really nice, a good sign. So I just need to make my way over there and see what we can get. Set up on a log. I found a large tree that came down and I'm actually sitting on it. It's a pretty wet section around me right now, and there's all sorts of dead snags of trees that have the tops have blown off, so it's just a small trunk about 10 or so feet off the ground. It's perfect perching spots for birds. There's a lot of dead sticks, down sticks, and different shrubs and such around. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait, and hopefully the birds will come circling back around. That's usually what happens, and I kind of still hear some back over that way. So yeah, it's time to be quiet, sit and wait, and have some coffee. So I moved from the spot that I was at because there wasn't much activity at all, and I'd been there for about an hour and a half or so, and I was in the shade and it got really cold, so I also needed to move. So I went a little bit farther down the brook, and I heard a section where there's a lot of sparrows chirping during their chip calls, and that's where I am right now. There's probably at least 6 or so white-throated sparrows that are kind of in front of me here. So I'm going to move into position a little bit ways this way. It's a little drier this way, so I'm hoping I can creep a little bit farther into the grass without getting my feet soaked, and see if this is a better spot. Closer to the brook, and it looks like most of the activity is actually right along the edge of the brook. So this section, the banks are more defined on the brook, so the banks are a little bit higher. The grass is higher, so I'm going to make my way over that way towards the bank, right along the edge, and then hopefully I'll be able to get some clear shots of the birds. There's a downed tree over here, as well as a small white pine that looks like the birds are perching on. And it also sounds like there is a wren on the other side of the bank over there as well. So hoping if I get to the closer to the bank, I'll have a better view of the birds. Well, it's been about 5 hours now since I've been down along this riparian area, and there's been a lot of sparrow activity, a lot of white-throated sparrows. There was a winter wren that was in front of me. It poked out of the grass for a couple minutes, but then just went right back into it. I couldn't get a picture of it. And there is a woodpecker calling in the tree behind me somewhere, but the sun is right behind it. So there's a decent amount of activity, but just not a lot that you can photograph because the birds just kind of go in and out of the grass, and it's very hard to photograph them. So I'm actually going to head back up into the forest and then shoot back down the trail and see if there's anything I can find up along in the forest areas, maybe some woodpeckers or some more kinglets or nuthatches, anything like that, foraging on the barks of the trees. So we'll see if we can get any activity up that way. Alright, I'm back up on the trail, and I found a pair of pileated woodpeckers. I have one in front of me. It's kind of through some hemlocks, but it's actually starting to drill a hole in the side of the tree. And I've got a somewhat clear view of it, so I'm recording it right now. I wish I had a little bit better view of it, but I don't want to get any closer and scare it, so this is what we got. Well, the pileated woodpecker is still up on the tree, hammering away at its hole. I tried to change positions to get a clearer view of it, and actually I could not find one. But I did manage to move around it and go past it without spooking it, so that is great news. Love when that happens. And I'm actually headed down to the pond down here now to see if there's any waterfowl down in the pond. There usually isn't, but actually somebody just passed me and said that there were some ducks or geese down in the water, so I'm going to go and check it out. Hopefully they're close enough over to the shore that you can actually see them and maybe get some pictures of them. But the light is like beautiful right now. It's probably about another hour of light. So it could make for some really nice pictures. The ducks were far side of the pond, but I came back to the stream because I actually hear a kingfisher. So I'm going to try to creep over towards it as quietly as I can. The leaves are going to make it nearly impossible, but I don't want to get too close to it. I just want to set up and maybe it'll come over towards me. But I'm not going to do any recording because they're so skittish. I think there might actually be two kingfishers. Yeah, so let's see what we can do. Well, I came over here looking for the kingfisher, and I set myself up high up on the bank, overlooking a whole bunch of perches that are over in this, around the brook and the marsh. And the kingfisher flew farther back down and back down the brook that way behind me. So it went the opposite direction of me. And it wasn't because I was here, because it was actually calling for about 15-20 minutes, kind of right in front of me here, behind some of these trees. So I was hoping it was going to come this way. It ended up going the other direction. That's just how it is sometimes. But that's going to be it for me today. Wasn't the most exciting video, but it was really nice to be out, kind of dust off some of the cobwebs from not being out and doing any photography for the past month or so. And it was also nice to test out this Sirui tripod. Again, the description and the link will be below in the description of the video for the tripod if you're interested. So far I'm impressed with it. I like it. It's nice and light, it's easy to carry, it's good and compact, and it holds up to the 600mm pretty well. It's definitely not as sturdy as my thicker, bigger Benro tripod, but this will do, and it's a heck of a lot lighter than that one. So next time I'm going to actually use it for my vlogging setup and test it out that way, and see how I like it there. And yeah, that's going to be it. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to try to do another video once a week. Obviously things might be a little bit hectic, and I'd rather get some good quality videos rather than just try to get one every week. So we'll see what happens. And it is getting to be winter here, so that means waterfowl are going to start coming down. There's already a couple different kinds of ducks that have been reported in the area, so that's exciting and that's something to look forward to. But that's going to be it for me today. Thanks for watching, and thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.